Sorry. It's delay. Always wait for that. That's good. Welcome everyone to the Ordinary Council meeting to Wellington Shire for the 18th of July 2023. Members of the public gallery should note that the Council records and publishes Council meetings via YouTube to enhance the accessibility of Council meetings to the broader Wellington community. These recordings are also archived and may be published on Council's website for viewing by the public or used for publicity or information purposes. At the appropriate times during the meeting, members of the gallery may address the Council, at which time their image, comments or submissions will be recorded. Members of the public who are not in attendance at the Council meeting but who wish to communicate with Council via the online web form should lodge their questions or comments early in the meeting to ensure that their submissions can be dealt with at the end of the meeting. Please could gallery visitors, councillors and invited online attendees ensure that mobile phones and other electronic devices are turned off or in silent mode for the duration of the meeting. Thank you, Councillor Tatterson. Our mission, working together to make a difference. We listen and lead to provide quality services that improve life for all. Wellington Shire Council acknowledges our offices are located on the traditional lands of the Gunai-Kurnai Nation. We pay our deep respects to their elders, past, present and future, and acknowledge their ongoing cultural and spiritual connections to their land and waters. We have no apologies for this meeting. Do we have any declaration of conflicts of interest?
Yes, I have a conflict of interest. Thank you, Mayor. I declare a conflict of interest for item 14.2, the May monthly planning decisions, as per section 128 of the Local Government Act. I have a material interest.
Thank you, Councillor Maher. Is there any others? No? Can I have someone to move item 3.1, adoption of minutes of previous council meetings?
Yes, Mayor, thank you.
Councillor Stevens.
I would like to move that Council adopt the minutes and resolutions of the ordinary council meeting of the 4th of July 2023. And
second by Councillor Rossetti. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Happy with that, Councillor Stevens? Item 4, business arising from previous meetings, there are none. Item 5, acceptance of late or urgent items, there are none. Item 6, notices of motion, there are none. Item 7, outstanding petitions, there are none. Item 8, invited addresses, presentations or acknowledgements. Do we have any? I do. So I was lucky enough to get invited to a couple of Sundays ago to the 80th anniversary of the Hayfield Ambulance, which was quite amazing. 80 years we've had a little ambulance station that has been moved location, I learnt 3 times. Council was blamed for that, of course, but always it was a better location, and where they are finally is a fantastic location. I'd like to do a shout out to Sandra Tozer. She's the team manager at Hayfield, and what an amazing job that Sandra actually does. She's the qualified person, the paramedic that goes along, and they have 20 odd volunteers that have a roster that actually tag along with her, and the volunteers actually go do some cases themselves as well. For a little community like Hayfield to have an ambulance station that is there with a qualified ambulance driver is a real credit to that community, and we reach out again to Sandra, say thank you very much. I'd also like to thank Hugh Stagg. Hugh's the president of the Hayfield Ambulance Auxiliary. Him and his family have been associated with the Hayfield Ambulance since 1942. And even though Hugh is ageing, Hugh is still very, very active, and he's got some wonderful ideas that he still wants to progress that branch to uphold. So well done, Hugh. Also, it was really pleasing to see, and I didn't even know this organisation actually existed. It's the Ambulance Victoria Museum. It's actually in Bayswater. I didn't know there was a museum. They actually drove down an old ambulance. I have the brochure here that anyone can look through. If there is any ambulance events, they are more than willing to bring some of the old ambulances. All the uniforms they brought along as a display as well, and the memorabilia was quite amazing. So a big shout out to Ambulance Victoria Museum in Bayswater for actually making the effort to come down and support a branch that was 80 years old. It was a great day, well attended by the community, and congratulations again on 80 years. On Wednesday, I thought I'd tag along a dairy industry event. About 25 years ago, there was a robotic dairy at one of the Warren farms that was established. And I thought, wow, that was quite good back then. I attended on Wednesday a robotic dairy that actually had 16 robots that were there to milk 1,200 strong herd. And it wasn't just a small feat that they've actually put there. It's a $6 million investment. It was quite amazing how these cows walk in from 3 different areas in the farm. They walk through different gates. They can sense everything that's happening with the cows. They can measure what milk they're putting out. They then let them out to where appropriate they go and graze again. They feed them. They do the whole lot. Quite amazing setup. And a real congratulation to Alistair Klein and opening his farm up for people to come and have a look. I must say I was amazed with the amount of farmers that were actually out there to have a look at this technology. He opened up one of the paddocks and it was full. There was people everywhere. And De Laval, who is the manufacturer, did guided tours all day. They cooked up a beautiful meat burger that everyone could have as well. It was a well-organised event and it was amazing to see what actually the technology has done to help dairy farming. Big shout again to a local business, Ash Kent, that has A&K Dairy Services. He was a major contributor to actually putting all that infrastructure together. So great event and can showcase what can happen in the dairy industry. So well done to the team that made that happen. Item 9, questions or notice, we have none. Item 10.1, Mayor and Councillors Report, June 2023. Someone to move that, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Ripper.
I'd like to move that the Mayor and Councillors' report be noted.
And someone to second that? Ooh, that was nearly a dead heat. I'm going to go with the ladies. Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Ripper.
Thank you, Mayor. 45 events were attended by our councillors from the 1st of June to the 29th of June, which is an enormous amount of events for all of our councillors to attend around our community. And some of the events were took some people away from here, from Sale. We had, say, Tara Tourism meeting in Yarram. We had a meeting with the Honourable Christy McBain, Minister for the Regional Development, Local Government and Territories. Councillor Bye, Mackenzie, Maher and Taddison attended that. I believe that was in Canberra. And the 2023 National General Assembly in Canberra was part of that with the previous councillors that I mentioned. And we had the Wellington Youth Service meeting, Network, Councillor Wood attended. Locksport Boat Club annual general meeting at Locksport, Councillor Mackenzie. Councillor Crosley attended the Gippsland Climate Change Network board meeting in Morwell. And the councillor, this time of the year on the 9th of June, although it wasn't as cold as it was this morning, he attended Get Ice charity event. So thank you, Mayor. And the Maffra Rec Reserve Committee meeting was at Maffra and Councillor Ripper attended that. Councillor Maher attended the Rural and Regional Planning Conference online. We did mention. Councillor Stevens, Committee for Wellington monthly meeting. Any of the councillors I haven't mentioned, and they did attend, my apologies. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper, and thank you very much for reminding me about the Ice Bucket Challenge at Ashley House. Oh my God, was that cold. But it was for a great charity and the residents had a great afternoon. Item 11, Delegates Reports. Do we have any? Councillor Crosley.
Thank you, Mayor. As the delegate to the Gippsland Climate Change Network, I thought it was a notable event that we launched the ticket sales, and the Mayor attended also, and some of the partner organisations and new energy proponents. I think it was last Thursday, to celebrate the launch of the ticket sales for the Gippsland New Energy Conference. This is the second conference and the largest regional-led new energy conference in Australia. This was built on the strength of the initiation of last year's conference that was hosted at the Wedge, and we're doing it again with the support of the Wellington Shire. And it's spread over 4 days, extended over the 4 days. There's over 70 speakers. There's 40 sessions, and which looking at covering culture, policy, investment, and innovation. And also, it's linked into the Gippsland Youth New Energy Summit for school students. That's at the Sale Memorial Hall the day before. So that's really inspirational for them to go and see the potential jobs and guest speakers there. And also at the tickets obviously sold very quickly, so you have to be on a wait list now. So that's 350 tickets gone already. And also because of the last year's, there was a feeling that the community wanted to be involved, and so there's a free community day which will have some of the guest speakers, an EV expo and films and talks and panel talks through at the Port of Sale and on the port side of the building on the Saturday. So a lot to look forward to. So that's on the 30th of August to the 2nd of September. So a really important part of the new energy engagement that we have both with the proponents and with our communities. So really looking forward to that significant event.
Most certainly. Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Item 12.1, the Chief Executive Officer's Report, June 2023. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Wood.
Excuse me. I move that the Chief Executive Officer's Report be received.
And seconded by Councillor Stevens. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 5th of June, the CEO met with Sustainable Hardwoods Managing Director Vince Hurley in Hayfield. On the 7th, attended a joint state-local government monthly CEO forum. On the 9th, attended a Wellington Place-based coordination team meeting to discuss immediate economic development opportunities. They were quite busy on the 15th. He was quite busy. Attended a Wellington Place-based coordination team meeting. Attended Destination Gippsland board meeting. Met with Star of the South representative Mr Paul Johnson of Sale, and met with George Grey Centre representative Mr Peter Green. So that was a busy day. On the 16th of June, met with Opal Australia Paper Proprietary Limited, David Jetner in Sale, and on the 19th attended an introductory meeting with Octopus Investments Australia Proprietary Limited, and also the Mayor was in attendance at that one. From the 22nd to the 30th of June, the CEO was on leave.
Thank you, Councillor Ripper. I must say the CEO is still on leave. Sorry, not Councillor Ripper. What am I looking at, Councillor Ripper? Councillor Wood. Thank you, Councillor Wood. And I must say a big thank you to our stand-in CEOs, Arthur and Chris, which are doing a fantastic job in our CEO's absence. Item 13.1, Assembly of Councillors. Someone to move that, please.
I'd like to move that.
Councillor Maher.
I move that Council note and receive the attached Assembly of Councillor records for the period of 26th of June 2023 to the 9th of July 2023.
And seconded by Councillor Crosley. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Maher.
The attachments provide information on the meetings. Largely, one was the Aqua Energy Redevelopment Project Group that met on the 20th of June 2023, and the other is our Council Day meeting of the 4th of July 2023.
Thank you, Councillor Maher. Item 14.1, Quarterly Strategic Land Use Planning Update Report, second quarter 2023. Someone to move that, please.
And I'm happy to move that
Councillor
as well,
Maher.
Mayor. Thank you. I move that Council receive the second quarterly update on the Strategic Land Use Planning Work Program included in the document attached.
And seconded by Councillor Mackenzie. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Maher.
Thank you, Mayor. Our current strategic planning work involves strategic planning projects, planning scheme amendments and development plans. And I'll just highlight a couple that are current at the moment. The Westsale Industrial Land Use Strategy, the technical report is still being prepared. The heritage investigations have been completed with technical studies nearing completion, largely around drainage and traffic, which is great news. The next step is the work on the development plan, and we certainly look forward to that occurring. The Sale Western Growth Area, the Warwick Development Plan, is currently with a draft developer contribution plan is currently being finalised, apportioning costs, and they're associated with key infrastructure items to further support that development. The funding and procurement of public infrastructure works policy, which is of high priority to Council. Given that previously submitted National Housing Infrastructure Fund application, our application is no longer being progressed, and that's largely to the change in scope of that grant, which is largely around housing and bricks and mortar development, social and affordable housing. So officers are now considering alternate funding options and also looking at potential projects that could be prioritised for that funding. The Renewable Energy Impact and Readiness Study is has actually been adopted by Council in March earlier this year. So further work's being prepared to advocate for state government resourcing and support, with a focus on advancing strategic planning and infrastructure planning to provide additional residential and industrial land in Yarram. And we certainly look forward to that being progressed, as it's an important piece of our work. The Wellington Growth Management Strategy project brief has been developed, and the good news is that a $50,000 funding grant has recently been approved by the state government under the Regional Hub program. So well done to the officers that were involved with that, and it was great news to hear today. The consultant tenders closed on the 2nd of June, with the project to commence as soon as the recent appointment of a preferred consultant. Then we have some planning scheme amendments, and the MAFRA structure plan and C118, which also refers to the MAFRA structure plan implementation. A request for formal authorisation was lodged with the Minister for Planning early March of 2023. Council were advised that this application had been placed on further review, which was quite disappointing from our perspective, as this is certainly a piece of work that we deem of high priority. Ongoing discussions have been held with the Department of Transport and Planning, which resulted in that withdrawal of the amendment. And additional work is currently being undertaken by Council that will provide more weight to the implementation of the structure plan. So officers are currently working through that list of proposed changes as requested, and we were advised today that that's a matter of weeks. So that's great to hear. As far as the planning scheme amendments, there's privately initiated ones, and it's really good to read on this report that they've been completed. So, and I know that with these, each of them take many months of work. So I'm sure that the planning team will be very happy to be able to strike them off their list of works to follow through on. And then we have development plans. And these are basically all in the stage of either awaiting updated documentation and with the last one, DP 011 Draper Road, Hayfield, the several submissions were received from that public notification period, which was 5th of June to 3rd of July, and they're all currently being reviewed and will be dealt with as per necessary. And I'd just like to give a little shout out to Cara, who is our one of our strategic planners, who is responsible for putting this work report together. And I certainly have noted that it's a new format, and it's certainly easy to read at a glance. And well done to her. So thank you to the planning team.
Thank you, Councillor Maher. I must second that as well. It's a great format now for the councillors involved. Item 14.2, monthly plan decisions, May 2023.
I declare I have conflict of interest. Section 1 to 8, I have a material interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Maher. We'll wait till you leave the room. And can I have someone to move that, please?
I'd like to
Councillor
move that,
Tatterson.
Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council note the report of recent planning permit trends and planning application determinations between 1 May and 31 May 2023.
And someone to second that, please. Councillor Wood. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Tatterson.
Thanks, Mayor. A copy of the planning permit decisions made between the 1st of May and the 31st of May is included in the attachment, and also an overview of recent planning trends is also attached, which I noticed that while we had 55 planning permits issued in the last month, the number of outstanding planning permits has been coming down over the last couple of months. So congratulations to the planning team, and keep getting through all that work, and let's keep developing our shire.
Well said, Councillor Tatterson. Councillor Rossetti will just get Councillor Maher back in the room. Welcome back, Councillor Maher. Item 15.1, plant purchase grader and roller, Rural South. If I could someone to move that, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Stevens.
I'd like to move one, that Council adopt the recommendations contained in the attached confidential tender evaluation report for purchase of a grader and roller for the Rural South Road Maintenance Team, tender reference VP 362331, and point 2 as set out in the council agenda. Thank you, Mayor.
And someone to second that. I think Councillor Ripper by a whisker. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Stevens.
Do you announce who the... No, you don't. So, thank you, Mayor. It's very pleasing to see we've received tenders for our new grader and roller for the Rural South team. I did check with the officers about how the actual successful tender compared to our original budget, and was pleased to be able to be advised that yes, the actual cost of this new grader and roller has come in under the budgeted amount. So this will be a great addition to our team and for our roadworks. And you know, it takes me back. I mean, the cost of a grader these days is a little bit more than about 40 years ago, when they used to sort of be under 100 grand or so, and so yes, I think it's just wound. I think yeah, they weren't horse-drawn, Councillor Crossley. So yes, so it's so that was pleasing to see. We've now got a new grader. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stevens. Item 16.1, Council Committees and Committees of Management highlights. Someone to move that, please. Councillor Crossley.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that Council receives the report highlighting activities and achievements of various Council advisory committees and community facilities committees of management for the period March to June 2023.
And second by Councillor Maher. Is that motion opposed? If not, that motion is carried. Councillor Crossley.
Thank you. I'd just like to highlight a few highlights. I think the Municipal Emergency Management Planning, or the MEMP committee, is a multi-agency committee, It does incredibly important work, which is outlined when we have emergencies, either storm or fire or flood, which we seem to have many, that they really respond and coordinate really well together. It seems to come around very quickly, but we're working through the review of the MEMF plan. The endorsed sections will be 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we're waiting for the section 5's been finalised, and that's waiting to be endorsed. But incredibly important work with that multi-agency committee. And I think it's much easier now that we do it all than gathering 20-odd very, very busy people from the RAF base, the police, the CFA, and the list goes on. So I think the Teams meetings has made that much more easily to achieve. The Wellington Disability Advisory Committee, this is a new committee, it's had 2 meetings, which is working well together, and they're looking at putting input to the new planning of the new Disability Action Plan, Council 1, so they'll be a very useful experience to feed into that development. I thought I mentioned that the Volunteers Week, where you had celebrations at Yarra, Maffra and Sale, and it's certainly well attended, and it was really good to meet up with the very hard-working community members that give of their time to make it better for other people to enjoy. And also the regional Gippsland Regional Sporting Complex, they've responded that from all user groups that there's been an increase of 41% this year from last year to date, which in activity, so that's a really good outcome for that, and certainly a good bounce back from the COVID period. And also with the Gippsland Art Gallery, I'd just like to highlight that there was a fantastic launch of the winter season, which had basically filled with local contemporary artists, with Double Vision by Nadine Lyon and Frank Mazarek, 2 local artists that have been teachers in the school area, but a professional artist. Clara Jones with her solo show there with both sculpture and installation. Annamika Meehan's new body of work, well, an old body, but a new exhibition in her space, and works from the collection in the front gallery. So there was about 200 people turned up for the winter launch, which is really a great show of community enjoyment and strength, and also visitors from other parts of Gippsland and also Melbourne to come to that event. And I think they're averaging about 100 visitors per day, excluding those numbers at the event. So really is meeting a need, and really the community are enjoying that wonderful facility, and it's really wonderful to see the high standard of local artists exhibited there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Crosley. Any online comments, Acting CEO?
Yes, Mayor, we have one question from Council Watch, and Council Watch has actually asked the same question of 79 Victorian councils, and that is, can Council please advise the dollar amount of cost shifting from state government they estimate they incurred in the 22-23 financial year? So, Mayor, we'll get back to them with a letter giving them that detail, and we'll also CC a copy to each of the councillors.
Thank you very much. Gallery time now, so if there's anyone in the gallery that'd like to come forward and address the councillors, if you'll state your name and you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. A bit nervous, so sorry about that, but you just have to accept
Take your time.
Thank you. Okay, my name's Mary Johanna Veronica, and I'm still on about the wind turbines. The truth about wind turbines. This was from a video by Alex Nichol, who worked as a policy advisor for a Liberal Party senator in 2002. 2002, employed by the federal government, working with windmills. A recent interview with Alex Nichol given about her time as a policy advisor for the Liberal Party senator in 2000 And 2, Alex blows the lid off the rorts behind our supposed wind-powered solution on climate change. The area she was working in was renewable energy. Basically, it was her job to uncover a lot of the stuff that was going on with the renewable energy at which was putting in 2002 during the Howard government. It was the Liberal government who put the Act in place. Alex was looking at the mess that it created, and what a lot of people don't understand is that the Renewable Energy Act creates a subsidy environment where where if you build wind turbines, you're paid between $600,000 and $900,000 per turbine per year as a government subsidy alone. If it is built on your property, the wind turbine company comes and leases the land from the landowner to build the wind turbines, and that in effect makes sure that the landowner is still liable for the turbine. They pay the landowner $12,000 per turbine for the lease per year. So while the wind turbine company gets $600,000 to $900,000 per turbine per year, the landowner gets $12,000 and is also responsible for the liability of the turbine. When, not if, the turbine catches on fire, the landowner is responsible for that, plus the neighbour's property when or if it is damaged. The subsidy from the government is reaming $40 billion a year out of the Australian economy and is paid for by everyone: pensioners, householders, school hospitals, everyone, not just out of your tax. It comes out of your power bill. That is why your power bills are going up. Power bills are going up for wind turbines that don't work. And why don't they work? Wind turbines don't work because they draw off the grid for coal-fired power in order to start to turn the blades. They are not windmills, they are turbines. When the wind picks up and the turbine starts to generate electricity of their own, but that electricity is so intermittent and unreliable, when it gets back to the grid, it has to be balanced on the grid, which can't be done. The coal-fired power station cannot be ramped up and down, so the coal-fired power station stays at the same level because it takes 24 to 48 hours to get up heat, and so it just lets off steam as the wind comes on to the grid. There is absolutely nothing about them that works apart from the reaming that amount of money out of the economy to go offshore. And now the government is getting ready to shut down the power stations around Traralgon so that they can rely on the wind. As the wind blows and the grid cannot stabilise the power from the turbine, it doesn't make sense. Wind turbines are very expensive to build and repair, which happens often. They are very bad for the environment, causing a lot of damage. They are not recyclable, they are unreliable, they have a short lifespan, they cause the death of thousands of native birds here. They are not sustainable. This is the reason why South Australia is having so many power blackouts. Also, Sweden has officially now announced that they are scrapping plans for renewable energy and net zero. Instead, they will be using nuclear power. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Mary, we'll take that more as a statement, but if you want to leave those notes with Chris, we'll get those sent around to the councillors. And there's no one else in the gallery, so I'll declare the meeting closed at 5:33. Thank you.